Ready, set.
I have a checkered past when it comes to baseball games, I think. For the most part, I don't like them. This is mostly due to the fact that I received a copy of Acclaim's All-Star Baseball 2002 for the Nintendo GameCube for my 7th birthday, and I played it, and it was before I was able to really think critically, so in my mind I was just really bad at All-Star Baseball 2002. In reality, All-Star Baseball 2002 is an awful game, but the pain that came from defeat after defeat in that game has stuck somewhere in my craw, and I just associate every baseball game that I play now with every flaw that that game had. Now, when I play a game that doesn't have those flaws, I'm pleasantly surprised. When I play a game like Home Run King, that sort of intertwinged that deep-seated prejudice against Major League Baseball games is unpleasantly cemented as correct. This game is bad, and this game is unremarkable at that. Home Run King was developed by Sega in 2002. Now, it isn't a part of Sega's Baseball Sim Series World Series Baseball, though it is similar to those games because it is based upon Major League Baseball, and it is also total garbage. Also, this game joins NBA Courtside 2002 and Knockout Kings 2003 as the only titles on a short list of GameCube exclusive licensed sports games, and having actually played all three of those games, this is undeniably the worst one. I've not ever played a baseball game that was this sloppy, unintuitive, and boring. Now, unlike the previously mentioned World Series Baseball, Home Run King, as one can probably tell from the game's more colloquial and provocative title, is not intended to be a pure simulation of baseball. The game is, I think, trying to be somewhere between an arcade-style baseball game's absurd, nutso, slugging-focused brand of baseball, and World Series Baseball's mediocre banality. Sort of like the Ken Griffey Jr. games and the Super Nintendo and Konami's Power Pro games of that time. Stylized in art and atmosphere, sure, but not NFL Blitz crazy in play. The big difference between those two games and this game is the way that those games had simple and fun mechanics, and this game has overly complex and unintuitive and broken mechanics in just about every facet. Fielding, pitching, even hitting. And that's a shame, because this came out in 2002, almost a decade after the strike, 5 years after the summer of McGwire and Sosa, and 1 year after Barry Bonds rebroke the record, and Jose Canseco wrote those two books. This was a game called Home Run King, released during baseball's most unashamedly juiced era, when home runs were king. And I can completely get behind this, if it was good. It begs the question, do you want a nuanced simulation of professional baseball? Or do you want to see me sock a few dingers? But that just doesn't happen, because the hitting system in this game is just awful. I understand why a developer might want to make a player match up a little icon with another little icon in order to make contact, because that's at least a facsimile of the actual act of hitting a baseball. This mechanic, when it's done as poorly as it's done here, is what ruined many baseball games in this era. Now, I can point to the 989 Sports produced MLB games on the PlayStation as an example of a game doing this mechanic right, too, so it isn't just a widespread structural problem. Guessing where a pitch is coming can be done right, but these developers here just got it wrong. Fielding is fine, nothing to write home about, and certainly nothing to write over maybe 17 words about. Pitching, though, like hitting, is terrible. There's no icon for where your own pitch is going, so it's mostly in guesswork, and even aiming your pitch is inconsistent. I've thrown low-speed pitches that I thought would be out of the strike zone that actually ended up right in the middle of the plate, which surprisingly is not a fruitful strategy for winning baseball games. I cannot, in any sort of way, recommend this game to anyone for any reason. It's not even the best game in its incredibly small niche, as if you're looking for an arcade-style Major League Baseball game on the GameCube, you should immediately turn to MLB Slugfest 2003, which is actually fun, relatively simple to learn, and still enjoyable to play today. Not to mention, there's a music video to a new metal song written for the game on the game disc. I've railed on this before, but I will always judge games in this video series in a modern context. Like individual games or matches in the sports that these games represent, as time goes on, there becomes less and less reason to go back and experience these games again. That is, unless there's something notable about them. MLB Slugfest 2003 is ridiculous, but enjoyable, and there's nothing else that's both similar to it and also still enjoyable in 2017. Home Run King has nothing notable about it. I can't imagine a reason unless you're doing exactly what I'm doing right now to play this game, and I stopped playing it far more quickly than I did a number of other games that I've looked at in this series. Fittingly, this was the developer WoW Entertainment's final sports game, though they did give us the quite underrated Sega GT 2002 later on in the year. Home Run King is an anomaly in the history of the Sega Sports brand, as the 2K3 line of games released later in the year sparked an upward momentum for the Sega Sports brand, culminating in games like NFL 2K5, which are still well received today. Home Run King, for the most part, is forgotten, and rightfully so. It's been a great year.